Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. It's 1962, and an old man named Adolf Lobner is alone in his log cabin, 27 miles northeast of Carrizozo, New Mexico. The cabin is silent except for crackling flames that will soon claim both the building and his life. This isn't just any cabin. It's the last remnant of what was once a bustling saloon that served hundreds of gold-crazed prospectors. Today, only one family lives year-round where 300 desperate families once clawed gold from the earth to survive the Great Depression. Welcome to Hikaria, where Mexican miners with wooden bowls struck it rich in the 1850s, where American prospectors built a thriving community, and where the Great Depression brought not despair, but the town's greatest golden renaissance. This is the story of how gold created a community, sustained it through America's darkest economic hour, and ultimately abandoned it to become one of New Mexico's most haunting ghost towns. Our story begins in 1850, long before Hikaria had a name. In the remote hills of what would become Lincoln County, Mexican miners were quietly making one of the most significant gold discoveries in New Mexico's history. These weren't stereotypical American prospectors with pickaxes and dreams. These were native Mexican miners who understood the land, who knew how to read streams and hillsides for signs of gold. Their tool of choice: a simple wooden bowl called a batí. Imagine the scene. Mexican miners crouched beside crystal-clear streams flowing down from the Hikaria Mountains, carefully swirling dirt and water in wooden bowls, watching as heavier gold particles settled to the bottom while lighter sediment washed away. This was placer mining at its most elemental: man, water, gold, and generations of knowledge passed from father to son. The technique was elegant in its simplicity, but make no mistake, these miners were finding real gold. Enough gold to make the streams and hillsides legendary among those who knew where to look. For nearly 3 decades, this remained the Mexican miners' secret, a sustainable operation that took what the earth offered without destroying the landscape. But golden secrets don't stay secret forever. The 1880s brought a seismic shift to the Jicarias with American prospectors who had heard whispers of Mexican gold. These weren't men content with wooden bowls and stream beds. They came with industrial ambitions, looking not just for loose gold particles in water, but for the source itself, the mother lode embedded deep in mountain rock. While Mexican miners practiced placer mining, surface mining for gold already weathered from rock and deposited in streams, Americans were after lode deposits, actual veins of gold still locked in solid rock. This shift from placer to lode mining changed everything. Suddenly, the Jicarias weren't just a place where families could quietly pan for gold. They became a destination for serious prospectors willing to invest significant time and money hoping to strike it rich. And they came in droves. By the time dust settled, approximately 200 people had descended upon this remote corner of New Mexico, transforming the quiet mining area into a genuine settlement. They called it Hikaria, after the mountains that yielded their fortune, building crude shacks and homes that created the infrastructure of permanent community. By 1905, Jicarilla had evolved into a fully functioning frontier town built entirely around gold. E.H. Talbert ran the general store, keeping miners supplied with everything from pickaxes to coffee. Joe Long operated the saloon, serving as social center, news hub, and meeting place where mining claims were discussed and deals struck. A.H. Norton served as justice of the peace, bringing law and order to a place that could easily have descended into chaos over competing gold claims. But perhaps the most telling sign of Hikaria's commitment to permanence came in 1907 with construction of their schoolhouse. This wasn't just any building. This was a statement that Hikaria was here to stay, a place where families could put down roots and children could build futures. The story of that schoolhouse is remarkable. Logs were cut and hewn in the canyon on Ancho Peak's east side, then dragged down the mountain to a site about a mile south of the main settlement. It was backbreaking work, but these miners understood that education was as valuable as gold. The rectangular log building served dual purposes that perfectly captured frontier mining community spirit. During the week, it educated miners' children, giving them skills that might take them beyond the mountains. But Saturday nights, it transformed into a dance hall where the community celebrated another week of survival in one of America's most unforgiving environments. Then came the Great Depression, and with it, one of the most unexpected chapters in Hikaria's story. While the rest of America collapsed economically, while banks failed and businesses closed, something extraordinary was happening in the remote Hikaria hills. People were flocking to Hikaria, as many as 300 destitute families who had heard that, in this forgotten New Mexico corner, a person could still make a living pulling gold from earth. In the 1930s, when average Americans struggled to find work at any wage, families in Hikaria could make as much as $7 a week mining gold. $7 might not sound like much today, but during the Depression, it was the difference between survival and starvation. These weren't experienced miners. These were teachers, farmers, shop clerks, and factory workers who had lost everything in the economic collapse and were willing to try anything, even learning to pan for gold with techniques unchanged since the Mexican miners of the 1850s. The population explosion was unprecedented. The little one-room schoolhouse that had served a few dozen miners' children was suddenly packed with more than 60 students. Wild turkeys in surrounding hills became crucial food sources, supplementing diets of families literally living off the land and whatever gold they could coax from streams. This was Hikaria's golden age, not because mining was more profitable than ever, but because gold had become hope itself for hundreds of American families with nowhere else to turn. Jicarilla's story can be told through its buildings, each one a chapter in the town's relationship with gold. No building captures this better than the log structure that began as a saloon in 1908. Picture this building in its early days, a rough-hewn log saloon where miners gathered after long prospecting days, their pockets hopefully heavier with gold dust than they'd been that morning. The saloon was community heartbeat, where claims were traded, partnerships formed, and discoveries celebrated or commiserated. But gold mining towns are adaptable, and by 1914, this saloon had transformed into something more essential, the post office and store. For 13 years, this single building served as Jicarilla's connection to the outside world and main commercial center. After 1927, as the town declined, it became home to Adolf Lobner, one of the old-timers who had seen Hikaria through its various incarnations. Then came 1962, and the tragic fire that claimed both Lobner's life and the building that had served as saloon, post office, store, and home. In a way, that fire marked the end of Hikaria's connection to its golden past. But other buildings survived. The false front building that served as store and post office during the 1930s Depression boom still stands today, a monument to that extraordinary time when hundreds of families found salvation in streams that had been giving up gold for nearly a century. Most remarkably, the 1907 schoolhouse still stands, its windows now covered with rusty corrugated iron sheeting, protecting the interior where miners' children once learned and the community once gathered to dance away frontier hardships. As America recovered from the Great Depression, something ironic happened in Hikaria. The economic recovery that the rest of the country celebrated became Hikaria's death sentence. Jobs became available again in cities and towns. Factories reopened, businesses hired workers, and suddenly mining gold for $7 a week didn't seem attractive anymore. Families who had found refuge in Hikaria during America's darkest economic period began leaving, drawn back to more stable employment opportunities. This wasn't sudden exodus. It was gradual population bleeding as opportunities elsewhere became more attractive than uncertain gold mining prospects. One by one, crude shacks and homes were abandoned. School enrollment dropped. The store saw fewer customers. The dance hall fell silent. By the time the last families left, Jicarilla had completed a full cycle from Mexican mining camp to American boomtown to Depression-era refuge to ghost town. Today, if you drive those 27 miles northeast of Carrizozo to where Hikaria once thrived, you'd find a landscape almost impossible to reconcile with the bustling community we've described. Only one family lives year-round in what was once home to 300 families. The silence is profound. Gone are sounds of mining equipment, voices of children heading to school, music from Saturday night dances. But ghosts of Jicarilla's golden past remain visible. The false front building from the 1930s still stands, weathered but intact, a monument to that extraordinary Depression renaissance. The log schoolhouse still stands too, its covered windows like closed eyes that once watched over miners' children's education and community celebrations. And somewhere in streams and hillsides around Hikaria, the gold is still there. The same gold that Mexican miners extracted with wooden bowls, that American prospectors sought with industrial ambitions, that provided hope to desperate Depression-era families, it's still there, waiting. If you would like to see a lost gold story by where I grew up, click on the link in the description. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image, and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest Gold story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.